All right. Welcome everybody. How are you today? I hope you're having a fantastic day. And happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there, man. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. I enjoyed it. My kids made me cry 2 times. No lie. Not making this up. I cried 2 times in the morning at 1 a.m. because they brought me my gift at 1 a.m. And then I cried again in the morning when I seen what they got me. And then I got a card from my beautiful daughter that man, it made my day. So yeah, and then another letter. It was just great. So yeah, there's that. But tonight on the show we have my main man Patrick, and we got my main man Russo. I'm getting the hang of it. Seen that? Oh,
Everything's backwards though.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So we got Patrick Wickard and we got Anthony Russo from Be the Change. Tonight we got an interesting show for you guys. Just to kick it off, I want to talk about something. The Chicago shootings and violence over the Father's Day weekend. I just want to play this little clip real quick for you guys and let you see what's going on in Chicago. Okay, if you haven't seen.
In the city.
Yeah, to Anita's point, more than 80 people were injured in shootings. 12 people were killed. Joni is live at police headquarters. She's got the latest. Joni, what can you tell us?
Good morning. Well, there have been multiple shootings this morning, and so now the number is up to 100 people dying. Many of those people are children. And this morning, 5 people were shot in the 200 block of South Central Park. Among those 5 people, they were all wounded. Also this morning, a 15-year-old boy died in a shooting in the 4700 block of West Superior. He was shot in the chest and taken to Stroger Hospital. With him was a 16-year-old boy shot in the ankles, and he is being treated. Police say that they were found in the alley. Police have also released pictures and video of the suspect they believe shot and killed 2 teenagers near 79th and Luella. Those teens were walking. The suspect is seen at that store and in the alley and shoe. They say someone knows something about this. They urge the public to help find this person.
This offender, son, and to these guys for no reason. These kids are criminal. They're not members. They have nothing to do with the ongoing disputes out there, and they just get gunned down for no reason at all.
Okay, that is tragic and all too common around where I live. You know what I mean? Chicago is literally like 15 minutes from where I am. And that's where I used to go. When I was out there and I was doing my thing, I would be in Chicago. You know, 99 Park, they call it the Nines. And yeah, it hasn't stopped. It's actually increased. But the crazy thing about it now is this kids, man. That dude young. So it's the younger generation, man, that's doing these things. And it's because, first off, one of the main things, fatherless. You know, a lot of fatherless, and I might be giving an assumption. I might be assuming this, but I'm assuming it's a fatherless thing. No father, no role models, not enough to do out there in a low budget community. And they're killing each other. You know, and there's nobody. I bet you any money you're not going to see no protesters out there. You know, I really would love for you guys, especially if y'all could come with me. I want to organize something, man. It's where we go out to Chicago and we go out to one of them parks and we just set up a speaker and we talk. We hand out shirts, we hand out wristbands, and just dialogue and talk with the people. And I got a couple guys that's coming out tomorrow that's going to speak about, you know, because they gang banged and they changed their life around. Some of them I knew. And it's going to be interesting tomorrow. But I would really love to set that up, man, where we go out to Chicago. They need it a lot over there. All around over here needs it. But Chicago needs it. They need help. They need a voice. They need role models, man. They need role models. So, yeah. How do you guys feel about this, man? What do you think we could do to change what's going on over there?
I think obviously the first thing we have to do is we have to find a way to get involved in a constructive manner. What we're seeing over there is like it's absolutely tragic. There was a 3-year-old girl killed in all those shootings too, you know, and that's just horrible. And I mean, I don't know much about what it's like over there because obviously I'm not from there. So
War.
Yeah, like, and that's what it looks like from the outside looking in. And I see the comments flying by, like people are asking, like, why is Black Lives Matter not protesting this and all that kind of stuff. And we could probably dedicate a whole show to that, but that's a very politically charged subject. And I think everybody that's watching at least should probably already know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like that picture that we saw, the suspect in that's a kid. That's a kid who does, like you said, Cass, he doesn't have a role model. He doesn't have anybody looking out for him. He doesn't have anybody telling him, hey, man, you don't do that shit. And that's part of it. Like, we need to get more involved. We need to do something about the single parent rate in these communities. And I don't know how all that starts, but I know that if we show up and we talk and we go out there and we meet them on their own turf and we give them something else to look at, that's a damn good place to start as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely. What you think, Ant?
I think the problem in Chicago goes above and beyond something that could be an immediate change of conversation. And I think that the concept, because I think the level of danger in some of the pockets is high enough where it's a systematic breakdown that's in Chicago that isn't honestly, like, there's communities that can be fixed incrementally. And I don't think Chicago is even at that place yet where it can be fixed because it's such a full breakdown of communication. So as we've all talked about, and I know you talked about on your show, I've broken it down on my show a little bit as well. Once you come in with people talking about the issues behind police brutality and Black men dying, and then somebody, and you see it on so many posts, somebody go, but Black on Black crime. And it creates a lack of conversation because it's that trigger word that doesn't work, but it's because we're not talking about it in the correct way. The people that actually bring it up, because a lot of them aren't educated on how to communicate to those people that are upset about what we're seeing on TV. We can't change the programming that's out there except for give good news. So the issue with conversing in terms of Black on Black crime isn't to say, well, why do you care so much about these 1 or 2 deaths when there's Black on Black crime? Not the right way to discuss it. So we have to discuss Black on Black crime in relation to it because these areas aren't as safe. That's why police go in there and they're over vigilant, they're trigger happy, etc. And it's not Chicago's fault. It's not the hood's fault. The person that pulled the trigger, it's their fault. 100% their fault. But it's not the fault of the community because over years they've been forced. And again, if you want to get political, these are Democratic run cities that have put them in this position. I know you're about to go say something, Cash.
I hear you, right? And this is the thing. See, I always would be in Chicago, always, and I was always in the hood of Chicago. And this is where another topic that we're going to be getting into tonight is about the media deception. Okay, yeah, they show you that the kids that died, and they show you the suspect, and then they show you how many people were shot and all these things to make you think that Chicago is just one of the worst places, and it is as far as the hoods. But on another level of it, they only will show you that the racial issue of it. You know what I mean? They don't show you that, in all of them gangs and all of them hoods, it is not just Black. It is not just white. It is not just Mexican. It is a multitude of people. And over there, they don't discriminate. I look dark, right? I was a Latin king. You know what I'm saying? And then you got GDs, and GDs are supposed to be Black, but you got a lot of white GDs. And this is the thing that they never show in the media. There's always either a Hispanic or they're always putting a Black. And it causes that tension that makes you think like Black people are causing the crime, or they'll show you Democrats think it's the Democratic thing, or it's Democrats that cause the issues. No, it stems farther than politics. It goes all the way into how you're raised and the things that you lack over there. I used to be there. That's how I know. See, the only role models that I had growing up was gangbangers. And the gangbangers, believe it or not, a lot of the gangbangers look out for their community, right? They love the kids in their community. They'll help the kids in their community. They'll give them money. They'll throw block parties. They'll do all those things in their community. But in Chicago, it's set up to where within 1 block difference, you'll have a whole nother gang. So every other day you getting, things is getting shot up, and there's always something going on, and there's always a war. So them kids on that side of the block don't matter because they're not from the hood that they from, even though it's the same exact hood, just a block difference. You get what I'm saying? And it's a multitude. It's all races over there that's doing this. So what I feel needs to be done is a sit down. We need to call people to come together. And I've already been working on that. I got a couple people that I'm talking to that's from the city. And like, I'm gonna give you an example, a Vice Lord, right? He wants to help his community. And he says, bro, we're not a gang, we're an organization, right? I try to explain to him, like, listen, man, just because you feel that way doesn't mean the rest do, because they don't know what you know. They don't know that they're not supposed to be out here killing each other because they're getting told by another dude that's not you. They need to go and get this dude because he's this or he's wearing that color. You know what I'm saying? And it causes a divide. So where you try to have good, if you got some milk, you know what I'm saying, and the milk goes bad, then you got to throw the jug away. And that's what's happened with, like I told him, even though you feel that way, how it started out is not what it is. Even though Latin King started out as a community organization that was there to protect the community from police violence and racism and all these things, it mutated. And it became this thing of destruction. It became this thing of murder. It became this thing of anger and blocks and territory and drugs and money. It all came into ruin. You know what I mean? And the same thing with every other gang that first started. They started out as something great and ended up something horrid, messed up, just not right. It all needs to get shut down. Gang violence got to be shut down because you can't save it. You can't save somebody that's a part of an organization that's already gone all the way down, man. You know, and the kids got to be taught that. They got to be taught, like, hey, if you want to help your community, because that's how they get you. They'll tell you, the older gangbangers, yo, I want you to help take care of the community. You know, we got to look out for each other and all these things. And it's right at first until you get in. And then you're like, okay, here, take this gun. I need you to go get this dude because he shot so-and-so. Or we got to go take over this block because they get money that we supposed to get. And that's the way that it goes. It's real life. It's literally real life, man. And it doesn't get talked about that way. You only see the violence. You only see the face of the person. You don't get shown what they went through to become that person and what caused them to become that person. We got to hit it at the root. What's causing it?
The leaders. And they do have leaders. So you know what? So first off, I saw somebody on the side get a little upset when I said Chicago can't be fixed. I didn't say it can't be fixed. I said that's a tough one to fix because it's almost like you start with something that's a little bit more manageable and you show how it can be done. With that said, what Cash just said is interesting. I think when I initially heard you say it, we go to Chicago and we start an event and we put, whatever. I don't think that's the right way to handle Chicago. Chicago you have to sell, just like you're selling anything. You have to sell to the gang leaders that, guys, there's no point in this anymore. You have to get in contact with the heads of the gangs. And I mean, that's something I don't know how to do, but I'd be willing to get involved with you on and try to figure it out. But talk to them and say, look, look what's going on in the world. It's burning. And this is your opportunity to go down in history as the leader of this gang, that gang, another gang, and actually stop. Nipsey Hussle was trying to do that. It was dangerous. We saw what happened to Nipsey Hussle. But what you're saying is really bringing the gangs together. And they were getting close to that in LA. They were getting close in places where even right now, when some of them are doing the Black Lives Matter marches, you're seeing Crips and Bloods in different cities that are walking together. It could be that time where they're ready to move past it. So
you know what? Real quick, I'm sorry, Patrick, you're about to go, but I just read a comment, and that's the truth. This is so true. Well, not only do we need to talk to the leaders, right? That's real. We do. And because of the way things are set up here, I'm working on it to where I got 2 people that are agreeing to come on, but they're going to wear a bandana because they don't want their face to be seen and all. And I'm cool with that. But I want a dialogue, right? But we have to get into the schools. We have to figure out a way where we can get into the youth centers, where we can get into the schools, and we can have a class even. I would dedicate 30 minutes of my time for an 8-hour period to go to different schools. I'm game for that. And just sit in there and talk to the kids and tell them, look, this is what I used to be. Take a couple brothers with me and have them. Look, this is what we used to be. We were all different gangs, but now we understand that we were wrong. We should not have. And we were just like you. We were misguided because we didn't know. The prefrontal lobe in your brain, right? The prefrontal cortex, it does not get done developing until you're 23 to 25 years old. And that is where all your decision making is done. That's why you'll see everybody from under the age of 25 making some messed up decisions. And if we could teach them that, even that, like, yo, your decision making isn't right now, show them the science behind it, and then show them, hey, this is what happens in the community. Show them the pictures of the little kids that get killed. You know what I'm saying? Or the people that get killed, the fathers that get taken. And the ones that's going to hit home, they're going to be like, man, my father was taken just like that. That's why I became this, because this dude want to kill my, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. We have to do something, man. And we have to get the kids. You have to go to the kids and explain it to them. But then we got to follow up. It can't just be a talk. We have to put action behind it, which is why I got my vision, man, for this center, you know, for this community center. It has to be like a Big Brother program set in place to where we can keep up with them. Or maybe even start a group that they can join in on Facebook to where they discuss if they got a problem, if they got somebody messing with them, then we could get them in tune with the proper channels. And they don't got to be the one to go and talk to the police, because that no snitching policy is so big in the hoods. People don't even want to talk to the police because they're scared of what's going to happen right in their own community if they get seen even talking to the police. It's that bad. It's literally that bad. They're scared to even talk to the police. Even the ones that want to won't do it because they're like, the police ain't gonna be there to protect me when so come and they light my house up or they light my house on fire. So yeah, go ahead, Pat.
I'm watching the comments go by, and a lot of people keep bringing up leaders and fatherless rates and all that kind of stuff. I think with Chicago, we're looking at a worst case scenario, like what Anthony was saying, as far as a really difficult situation to walk into. Why? Like, first of all, I think the question I got to ask you, Cash, is why do so many kids flock to the gangs from these communities? Like, what actually what actually causes that?
Fred.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now why I did.
Yes.
Okay, I was born in a place called Little Waco in Hammond. Okay, and my mother was a drug addict. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna put it out there. My mother was a drug addict, and she struggled with her addiction. She was a dancer. My real father had been murdered. I knew that my father was dead, and I didn't have a dad because my half brothers, or my half brother and my half sister, I'm close to them. I love them, by the way, but they would call me a nigger. They'd be like, "You're a nigger. Your dad's dead. You don't got a dad." So right there, I didn't feel like I had family. My stepdad, who I love, I still talk to him, but he was abusive as hell to me. I got beat, you know what I'm saying? A lot. And my mom wasn't there to protect me. And then when I would want his affection and I would want him to love me the way that he loved his other kids, so I would do anything that he said. And I was terrified of him. So he would say, follow your mom, see where your mom went. So I would get on my bike at 8, 9 years old, follow my mom to the dope house. Watch my mom shooting up dope. I seen my mom do things that I would never want my kids to ever see, and I would have to come home and tell my dad. Mind you, I'm taking all this in as a child, and I'm angry because why is my mom doing this? Why is my mom's gone? My mom would push me out of the way of the door when I'm begging her to stay because I didn't want to be left alone with my stepdad. And she would push me down out the way and leave and not come back for days. So when I would be outside, the gangbangers made me feel like family. They go, oh, man, there go Lil Cash. Come here, man. Come here, Lil Cash. They would sing the song Cash. I would walk to school, first grade. Never forget it. Bear and Smiley. Rest in peace, Smiley. He said, every time he see me coming through the alley, I would walk myself to school. He said, Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. And then he would give me money. So he's a gangbanger. He's making sure that I get to school safe. All right. He would wait for me every day just to see me coming by. But what's up, Lil Cash? How you doing? Him and Bear, you know what I'm saying? And they looked out for me. And they made me feel like I had a family. And when I would tell them, like, yo, man, my stepdad, I'd be beat up or whatever. And I would tell them, they took it upon them. They shot my stepdad in between the eyes with a BB gun because he was messing with me because I was a kid. They made me feel like family. And that's how they got to me. That's how I was like, you know what? I love these dudes. I want to be like them. I want to be like Twan, rest in peace. I want to be like Smiley. I want to be like Bear. All these other names that I ain't going to mention, man. But I'm like, yeah, I want to be like them. They're powerful. They're strong. When kids would come through, I'm 7 years old, and there's a 13-year-old GD coming through the neighborhood. They'd have me beat up the GD kid and told him, you touch him, and we going to get on you. And they would have me fighting. They had me out there like in this world I didn't know nothing about except I got to do what they say because they protect me, and they made me feel cool about it. They give me money for finding gun casings and all these things, You know, it was just, I felt protected. Standing on the corner, dude come flying down the street, you know, and throw up a gang sign out the window. And we're standing, all of us kids are standing there watching it. And we're right here playing on the corner because we would throw rocks back and forth. So he comes flying by and we're thinking he's going to pull a gun out. He puts his hand out the window. And then here comes one of the dudes that's in the neighborhood that looked out for me, that I looked up to and loved, pull a gun out and start shooting at him. Telling him, don't bring that over in this neighborhood, but whatever. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world growing up. And it was normal to me. This was all normal. My family made me feel like I wasn't family, like I didn't have a family. I didn't have a dad. So I wanted a dad. I wanted brothers that loved me. I wanted camaraderie. And that's how they got to me. They make you feel safe, secure. And I'm sure they had maybe good intentions at that time because I was a kid. But as I got older, it didn't become that. It became more of a, okay, we taught you how to fight, now go fight. We taught you how to shoot, now go shoot. We taught you how to take over, now take over. You know what I'm saying? And it's a cycle. It's just a cycle, man. And that's how they get to you.
So what's interesting to me is, you know, you said exactly what I thought you were going to say. And that is the idea of family. You know, there is a breakdown of the core family unit in this country that is a plague to multiple communities, including Chicago. And these kids, they want to feel protected. Now, we've talked about a little bit about like white privilege and black privilege and all that stuff on here already. The greatest privilege a child can have is being born in a two-parent home. And that's just the facts of it, right? Like, it doesn't matter what color you are. If you've got both your parents, statistically, you are way ahead of the game, way ahead of the game. So how do we, if we're going to go into a community like Chicago and we're going to effectively make change, how do we teach these children that even though this feels like family, it's not? And yeah, your family's messed up. And I know that sucks. But how do we raise these young men? How do we help raise these young men so that they're no longer, you know, they're not going to follow this gang path, and they're going to grow up to be the kind of men that take care of their children, and you know, regardless if they're with their moms or not, none of that matters, but they're going to be there for their kids to raise them in a way that provides them an idol that they can look out to. That's the question we have to ask. And then when you look at we talked about prison reform the other day. When we look at that, you know, we see drugs like run rampant in these communities and so many other things that it's been perpetrated upon these communities. How do we undo that?
Well, personally, again, I would say once you know better, you do better. You have to teach what is right and what is wrong is wrong. Okay. Now, a child, my stepdad, to this day, I love my stepdad. He wasn't the best to me at all. And that's an understatement. You know what I'm saying? But I loved him. And I didn't know why he treated me the way that he treated me. I was just grateful when he treated me good. Right. So it wasn't until I learned, when I started reading, that, okay, this isn't right. Me getting called this name that I get called is not a good thing, and it's not right. And I didn't do nothing to deserve this. Okay. It's not okay for me to get abused because I'm upset about what I'm being called or how I'm being treated. And I had to teach myself. So it's education. Education. Yeah, kids have to be educated on morals, man. What's right and what is wrong. It is not okay to be beating people up because of what they're wearing or because of what they believe. It is not okay to pick up a gun and shoot somebody that made you mad. It is not okay to bully somebody just because you have the power to. It's not okay that you get beat. It's not okay that drive-bys happen in your community. It's not okay that you've seen people get shot. That's not normal. The normal is your mom and your dad are supposed to love you, and they're supposed to protect you from all the things that I just said. They're supposed to make you go to school so you can learn. And if you can't make it to school, then they're supposed to help you read. They're supposed to teach you how to be a productive person to survive in this world. Because you got two things, and that's another thing. You got two ways that you have to be coming from where I come from. You have to be able to be strong enough to make it in the hood, but then at the same time, when you go to school, you have to be smart enough to make it out. You have to do two things. You got to wear a persona when you're in one place and then change that persona when you go to another. So it's like in them kind of communities, man, it's really hard. It's hard. So we have to educate. You have to educate them and make them know that, look, I know how you have to be over here, but that's not the way that you're supposed to have to be. Life isn't supposed to be that way for you. You're supposed to be able to be safe walking home from school. You're supposed to be able to be safe when you're in your home. So education for me is number one that you had. That's what's going to be a big change in what's going on in the hood. Education. Because right now, you know, in certain cities, the reading, you know, a lot of these kids can't even pass a reading test.
Most.
I was listening to Candace Owens talk, and she put the statistic out in California. Like 75% of the males, of the people, period, okay, in lower communities can't even read. Couldn't pass a standard reading test. That's what they used to do back in slave times, man. Take your literacy from you. Because if you can't read, you ain't going to understand anything that's going on because you can't comprehend. Reading builds comprehension. It's a lot. It's a lot. Go ahead, Anthony.
So Sean King, I know I've seen some posts on him, one of the main Black Lives Matters guys. I find this interesting, and I know that a lot of you guys probably saw this, and I do want to.
Oh, yeah, we were planning on talking about this. Good job, Anthony.
Well, I saw Denitra had a comment.
This is in my notes.
Yeah, so I want to get political, and Cash and I talked a lot about politics last night, and I want to be very clear. I think Republicans suck. I think Democrats suck. I think our current systems suck, but right now you have to choose what is going to have a direct effect. So Cash was talking a lot about just now. Cash became somebody that is almost somebody we speak against sometimes because we're talking about need education, need this. Like, yeah, but how do we actually make it work? And I know we'll talk about it, I think, in a little bit about Sean King about 2 weeks ago, had a whole comment, and he goes, he told everybody to vote. But he also said, don't just listen to the people saying to vote. Actually look at what you're voting for. And somehow he had a post that was anti-Democratic Party. He said in there all of these bad neighborhoods, and you look at it. And I know we talk a lot of shit about Chicago. Chicago's a great city. There's some great parts, but the bad parts are bad. And that's caused by things like systematic racism over the years. I've said that. We've had the super predator voting, and that was really pushed by Biden in the 90s. So you have to look at what you're voting for. And a lot of the reforms, somebody said, Denitra said, stop giving them 2 strikes and locking them up at 16, trying them as adults. That was part of the super predator bill reforms. There was a lot of the war on crime was very Democratic. And this day and age, the Democrats talk a big game about wanting Black Lives Matter. But the biggest thing before we actually get directly into education and how to actually get involved, because there's one other comment that there was a question that we need to get to. The other thing we have to look at is actually we have to keep fighting the narrative of the Black Lives Matter because it's distracting from the core problem, which is education. And it's not like Cash and Patrick and I and everybody in the chat box, even with 10,000 strong, we can't go into a school and be like, we're going to teach you guys what's going on. It really does in America have to start with policy. And the only way that starts with policy is it starts with voting. And then it starts with the correct form of protesting, which we've done a lot, taking away the riots, of actually saying this, whoever is holding what office in those districts, you need to be better. And then volunteering and after school programs and volunteering with their leaders. And Cash, you said something else about the gang leaders when they brought you up. They showed you love. They showed you these good things that made you feel like family, which tells me as much evil as there is out there, they still have good in them, but they've also been programmed. So that if we can speak to them, that can change, that'll open them up for the new version of education. And then voting is important. And then the last thing, by the way, GD stands for Gangsters Disciples, right?
It depends. See, that's what it was before, but that's what I mean about the two different sides, because on one end, Gangster Disciple, it started out as an organization that wanted to help the community, okay, and then it became a gang, Gangster Disciple, where you taking over blocks, and now I have a lot of friends that are Gangster Disciple, right, or GDs, but they say no, it's about growth and development. Larry Hoover himself would tell you that gang banging is dumb. That's not what he wanted to do, and now it is growth and development. You will meet a lot of very intellectual and very intelligent GDs, bro. And it's hard for people to hear because you think of it as a gang, and some of them are gangbangers, right? Some of them are intellectuals that put into the community, that host community events. It's a different world. I cannot wait until I get both of you out here where we could just drive and I can show you. I can show you that the way that they portray the hood is not exactly what it is. There's more to it. You'll meet a lot of diamonds in the rough, man. You will meet a whole lot of them. There's a lot of beautiful people that grew up the same way that I did and are trying to do the exact same thing that I'm trying to do. You wouldn't believe the support that I have right now from different cities of people that were gangbangers that are like, oh, bro, you are hitting it on the head. I don't want my people to be out here gangbanging, and I don't want my kids to be out here thinking that this is right. And I'm telling you, you're gonna see a big change, man, real soon. There's gonna be
provide that alternative. There's one, just to wrap up my point, because I think this is important, because I think Solange Amos might have taken it wrong when I talk about voting matters, because actually I'm a little bit iffy on, I say you vote, that's part of being an American. However, voting matters way more if you get rid of the presidency vote. That's not what matters. What matters is actually, and very few people learn their actual district's voting on the bills, voting on the taxes, voting on what is going on inside your community, and then educating those that are in the communities near you that are in the worst areas, getting out and having the voice. I probably can't do that. Cash can. Cash has the ability of going into communities that may not listen to me right away and say, look, guys, I'm not telling you which way to vote, but this is what's going on. Voting is difficult. And that's when people talk about voter suppression, that's what voter suppression is. Actually understanding voting. Voter suppression isn't like they're not letting black people vote. No, they're making it very difficult to understand what they're voting for. So again, that's to answer the question. You can vote the president either way. That's going to be decided by the whole country. Learn your actual districts.
Pat, you get to go, right? 1 second. I got to say this, but this is another thing that's wrong with our system, right? What you were just talking about voter suppression. Not only is there voter suppression in that sense, but there's also the one where you say cons. Cons cannot vote. Did you know that most of the men that go to jail and they come out, they change their life and they have an education? My uncle being one of them. People listened to my uncle the other day and they were like flabbergasted, like, this dude's amazing, right? He can't vote because he's a felon. Now, all these felons go in there and educate themselves on politics. They get degrees. They get brains, man. And then they have no voice. They can't make a change. And that's the reason why they do that, is because they know they come out educated, and they know that most of the majority of them that come out are of a minority group. So it's a way to stop the what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? To change the tide. They can change the tide because they got a lot more intelligent when they were incarcerated. So I mean, that's another thing that we need to change in this country about cons not being able to vote. Because most of them come out and they are reformed. You know what I mean? They get reformed and they do better. For the ones that don't have like murder charges and nonviolent crimes, I'm talking about like drug dealers. That's what I'm talking about. Them type of people come out with a different. Malcolm X, perfect example. He was a con. He was in prison and he comes out and creates an entire movement and leads people to a better light. You know what I mean?
I think that law has changed a little bit. I see people posting, and I've heard that too. Certain states are actually loosening depending on what the felony was, the ability to vote. So for those, I'm not sure fully which states do what, to be totally honest.
Go ahead, Pat.
I think the question you got to start asking yourself is voting a right or a privilege? I mean, if it's all right to do it, then nobody's to be able to take it away. And, you know, if you read through the Constitution and you understand the difference between rights and privileges, like your driver's license is a privilege, which is why it can be suspended. You know, voting is a right that is not a privilege. It is your right to vote, which is why all felons have the option of applying to get their voting rights back after they're done with their parole. But there's a process you have to go through and do it. I think that process should be made a lot easier. Personally, I think it's ridiculous. We all ought to be able to have a voice in our government, in our country. I think, Anthony, you're absolutely right. We always get sucked into this national debate on the president, and it's the one that gets everybody's attention. And that's when we see everybody come out and we get the right and the left trying to divide everybody right down the party line so everybody will vote, and then they can win whatever that is they're trying to win, whether it be the presidency or Congress or Senate or any of that kind of stuff. But what's really interesting is, you know, your local elections play far more into your day-to-day life than anything else. So people that like Anthony, I appreciate you saying Democrats suck and Republicans suck, because I agree with you. When I was 18 years old and I was old enough to register to vote, I registered as an independent. I've been a registered independent my entire life because I don't believe either of those parties have ever done anything to earn my vote for life. So I tend to support causes and issues, and I tend to look for candidates that I actually think are going to do a good job. But your local representation, like right now, in the city right next to me, that we have a mayor that has come out with a bunch of stuff that a lot of people are like, whoa, wait a minute, we didn't expect this. And within a matter of days, there was a petition with like 200,000 signatures to remove her from office. And that's how you do it. People get involved, and it's your local communities. And here we're breaking down barriers on national issues, big issues, things that are difficult to talk about. But those all have to filter down to your local areas, your hometowns. Who's sitting on your city council board, who's making decisions for subdivisions and development, and what kind of laws are they passing? What's your state constitution say? What kind of rights do you have in your state? Every state is different, and those things are important to understand. You had brought up Sean King. I thought you were going to go a different direction with that, but I think we should talk about this. This is something I think that needs to be brought up. Sean King is a Black Lives Matter activist who came out on Twitter earlier today, and basically wants to start tearing down all, like, any representation of Jesus that looks from European descent. And I want to say that if Black Lives Mattered meant what those three words meant, I would 100% fully support it. But unfortunately, it doesn't. There's just more to it now. It is highly divisive, and if you want to start attacking Christian monuments and Christian statues and things like that, like, how is that designed to do anything other than start a fight?
Yeah, really quick, I found the whole concept of the hashtag having that kind of importance over actual action is mind-boggling, and I know Wendy Scott's in the side. Commenting a lot. So I want to directly talk to Wendy Scott. So she's been doing a lot of the Black Lives Matter on the side. Cash, Patrick, and I all are a believer that Black Lives Matter. And right now,
yes,
in the spotlight, and it is important. I mean, you can say the all lives matter back, but I guess that I understand why that right now is it's kind of like the Confederate flag. Is it worth fighting for? There's some times it's like, I feel like we need to concede and say, let's get rid of some stuff that really just doesn't serve a point. So right now, for me, and coming from me, I don't have a reason to say all lives matter. I also don't have a reason to do the hashtag. I found it fascinating this weekend. I ran an event on my platform, volunteered to work with 29 African-American Black men to get their voice out and to help teach other young Black men. And I was getting yelled at by one specific person on my social media because she said, why wouldn't, if you're such a supporter of making change, why would you never put hashtag Black Lives Matter? I go, why does it matter? Because it's something divisive right now where I'd rather actually do something and help. That's the problem. And we do need to talk, Wendy, about Black on Black crime. You keep bringing it up. I'm not saying it's the right answer to come at somebody that's saying, what about with the police brutality? But you're talking about a Harvard research study in the comments when there is no way to look at the facts and say that Black on Black crime is not an issue. As I said, it may
definitely an issue. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I'm
Wendy,
good.
I know you personally. You came into my store a couple times, bought some phones from me, and you're cool people. I love you to death. But I'm not going to beat around the bush. And I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I live it. I've been there. Black on Black violence is very real, straight up. And you could talk about Harvard studies and all that, but Harvard ain't even in the hood. Harvard's not in the hood. It's a study. They study the hood because it's things that go on there. They study Black. It's got to be a study. They have to do a study on Black violence to say that it isn't real. That right there should tell you there's a problem. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys. If you know her, I wouldn't mind her jumping on and talking with us.
You let me know, Wendy. If you want to jump on, you can jump on. We can do it.
We can make that happen.
And trust me, we come from a place
love you.
of openness and unity, and I really
Absolutely.
want to understand where you come from, because it's hard to find those conversations because they always start out like this. But if we're willing to actually have a discussion, because it is that whole once you drop the words black on black crime, it becomes a brawl instead of a conversation, when really, in order to fix one, you have to fix both. And if you don't think they exist, if you don't think one exists,
Actually,
I don't know.
Actually, Anthony, I kind of disagree with you there. Look, I don't think you can answer a question with or respond to a statement with another statement, right? That, the Black Lives Matter statement means Black Lives Matter. In those 3 words alone, 100% they do. So do all other lives. And I see a lot of people in the comments saying all lives matter. Well, of course they do. Of course they do. But right now they're out. The Black Lives Matter movement has been hijacked by people at this point, as far as I'm concerned. The vast majority of the people, and I'm sure Wendy's one of them, are great people that are
Wendy's
just looking.
a phenomenal person. Just let me throw that out
Right.
there. I know she is.
I don't know her.
Light up the whole room. She's a great freaking person.
Right. And I think the majority of people involved in that movement absolutely are amazing people wanting to make a difference for these things that they're seeing in their community or nationally that they are against, like the police brutality stuff that got all this started. But like you see, and I've seen plenty of videos in protests, like Black Lives Matter protests that are peaceful. And then you have instigators in those groups wearing masks, covering their face, being instigators, trying to break windows. And the peaceful protesters are trying to stop them, right? So we're in a situation where, like, unfortunately, I can't give, my support to that movement because of the people that are manipulating that movement for their gain, for their benefit, right? But it doesn't mean that Black lives don't matter.
Let me tell you something. Black Lives Matter. I agree. Black Lives Matter. White lives matter. Brown lives matter. Red lives matter. Lives matter. If you have life, your life, that shouldn't even be a discussion. Lives matter, period. Okay? Black Lives Matter. It should be named Black Lives Should Matter. That would better help them get their point across. But they won't do that. And the reason is because they only come out to race bait. And I'm going to stand on that. And I've been doing this, saying this before any of this stuff happened where I went viral. If you go back and look at my videos, I've been saying this. I would not support Black Lives Matter's movement because they only come out. I just showed you the clipping right now of how many people were just killed. And you guys want to go at the police because all these white police is killing all the black people. No, all the black people are killing all the black people. Let's just say what it is. I'm black, and I'm telling you. If I go through Chicago right now, I guarantee you I get a couple guns pointed at me if I have my hat broke off like that. And I'm riding through my car and I'm in the wrong hood where my hat's supposed to be like that. Guarantee you I get shot at just for the way I wear my hat. It's a fact. It is probably going to be either a Hispanic or a black man or a gangster-ass white man that shoots me because it's a gang violence. It's gang violence. But let's be real about it. In Chicago, most of the gangbangers are from lower communities where there's a lot of black, a lot of Hispanic, and some white. I'm not going to say there's no white, but most of the white people that's in the ghettos over there, man, they're few. They're few. It's not as many. And put it like this. You don't see a whole bunch of white on white violence. You don't see a whole bunch of Chinese on Chinese violence. You don't see a whole bunch of whatever, man. You see a lot of Mexican on Mexican violence, but even them, Mexican and black violence, brown and black violence, however you want to call it. This is real. Just because Harvard made a study and says, well, no, it really doesn't exist. If you look at the terminology behind it, no, that's not real. That's not real. I lived it. I was committing black on black violence on an everyday basis. And as a matter of fact, I targeted it simply because I was a Latin king and most GDs are black. Even though there's some white ones and some Mexican ones, most of them are black. You know what I'm saying? It's not this is. You guys go ahead because I'm getting passionate about what I'm saying. So you guys go.
But the passion's good, and I'm seeing some stuff on the side, and there's a lot of, and this is the this is where we actually can reach people besides the echo chamber in this group. And I don't think we're an echo chamber because we disagree with each other a little bit. And here's the key. Like, I personally won't use the all lives matter statement because I think coming from me, it instigates. Cash can say something like that because it has a different impact. But if you look at, somebody said, we should look at things as though we're colorblind. So here's the cool part. It's not a we should situation. It's a, if that's how you feel, I don't see, you can say, I don't see color. I'm colorblind. But other people can see a positive too and be like, dude, he's black, he's white. We're all different. It's cool though. It's cool being different. So we need to stop telling other people how they think about the same subject. As long as it all ends up in the same place of positivity, then actually let people think a different way. The Black Lives Matter thing is interesting to me because here's the reason why it's an issue as we're talking about it is if I could put hashtag, if we all at the same time put hashtag Black Lives Matter on our social media, it wouldn't do a damn thing.
Nope.
There is no action behind a hashtag.
Nope.
So if the awareness is out there on what is going on in our society, and you can look at it from a lot of different angles. You can look at the issues in police brutality, and then somebody can disagree by using facts and statistics. But the statistics still at the end of the day lean towards the fact that there are some systematic issues that we can fix as a society if we're just positive about it and we start acknowledging it. So ultimately, we just have to let people talk the way they want to talk and stop placing emphasis on Black Lives Matter and stop placing emphasis on hashtags coming from somebody whose company is hashtag be the change. But why
couldn't the message be, stop the violence, get rid of gangs? You know what I'm saying? GRG, hashtag GRG, get rid of gangs. Why can't it be that? Why does it got to be focused on a color? Why can't we say, stop police brutality and just call it that? Get rid of the 1% of bad cops, because most of the cops, I'm just saying on my own personal experience, most cops that I know don't want to shoot people. They don't want to kill people. Yes, you get your nerds that went and got picked on in school that become cops just so they can pick on you. That's true. But I highly doubt that there's more than like 1% that like, I'm going to go get me some niggers today. That's not real. That's not what's happening. It's just what's being portrayed in the media. We have to stop the violence. We have to stop the hate. We have to stop the slandering of somebody because of their religion. We have to stop killing or, giving people so much power over what they think about a person's gender or sexual preference or whatever it is. Just don't kill people. Don't kill people.
We also got to stop. We also got to stop the media from this constant barrage of negativity and violence that they're pushing on us, right? Like, I think everybody here is smart enough to realize that the media is telling a narrative. They're telling us a story that they want us to believe. We have to stop them. We have to do something to get that, or to at least educate more people that, like, major studies have been done on the media. Only 25% of what they say, regardless of the channel or whether it's a newspaper or print or magazine, 25% of what they say is fact. That is it. 75% of everything they talk about is their opinions. And those opinions are what are leading this divide amongst us.
Yeah, I mean,
the media is a trap. Let me say this real quick. The media, when you look at the media, they're setting people up to get killed by the police. You know why? Because you go into places like Chicago, or not even Chicago, let's use a different city. You go into places where they really don't have a high crime rate, right? And you're getting these random videos now. You're seeing random videos in different cities where there's not really a lot of violence or killings or police brutality and all that. And then you got black people being pulled over by the police, and they got a chip on their shoulder because they got their camera out thinking it's going to save something. And sometimes it does. But then you come off like a straight up asshole to the police and then get mad when the police pull your ass out the car and tase you, or you end up getting shot by the police because you end up trying to fight because he's telling you to do something and you don't comply. Just don't be an asshole. Don't kill people. Don't be an asshole. Police pull you over, comply with the police. Unless the police is doing something that's unruly. And in that case, before, when you think, if you really are fearful about what's going on with the police, then you call 911 when you get pulled over and say, hey, can you get somebody out here right now because I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared. All this stuff going on in the news. This dude, I think he wants to shoot me. Tell him what you're scared of so they can send somebody out, and that's recorded. You think you're going to get shot. So then if you get shot, we know that cop was an asshole. He was the bad guy, not you. It's not hard.
If you vote to defund the police, guess what? You're not going to have enough money to actually have enough cops to show up and be backup in those situations. So that's, again, a whole nother discussion point.
I see.
Stupid. That's what media does. Media thinks people are stupid because they know they can put your fear right in front of your face. They believe in your stereotype. Let me just say that. They believe in your stereotype. They believe that, okay, if we put this out in the news and we show this white cop killing this black man, then we know that the uneducated black people are going to get angry because they're going to believe us. And they're going to go out and they're going to riot. And then the ones that don't believe it, but they know that police brutality might be a real thing, they're going to go out and try to protest. But it's going to look bad because these idiots that don't know nothing are going to come out and they're going to tear everything up. And they're going to steal. And they're going to rob. And they're going to kill people. They're going to burn. They play on your stereotypes. Well, Mexican people, when they show the kids in the cages at the camps, they know it's going to be a big thing. We know all lives matter, and I don't care where you're from. You could be anywhere in the world. Your life matters to me. I don't care if you're Mexican, from Mexico, your life matters to me. I love you. I don't care if you're from Switzerland. I love you. I don't care if you're from Germany. I love you. We're humans. We are humans. We have to care about each other's lives and well-beings, period, bigger than just our nation. Across the world, across this whole world, we have to love each other and look at each other as brothers and sisters, man. And stop the divide, because that's another thing we were talking about. All the things that are set in place are meant to divide. And this is how it starts from the lowest floor, race. Okay. Then from race, it goes to gang, because when you're in your city, in your town, there's a gang or a group, right? And then it goes into, when that doesn't work, it goes into politics, or not politics, sports. They divide you by sports by saying, oh, you're a Bears fan? Oh, I'm a Packers fan. Fuck the Packers. No, fuck the Bears. People fight in the stands over it. They literally will fight in the stands over it. Okay. Cubs and Sox, same thing, right in the same city. Then it goes into politics, red and blues. Okay. Democrats, Republicans, they'll fight each other. Oh, you're a Republican, you're a Trump supporter. Boom, boom, boom. It's stupid. Then when that doesn't work, they get you on a state level. You know, my state's better than your state. When that doesn't work, a national level. Oh, you're an American. Oh, you're from Mexico. Oh, you this and this, or you this and this. And then there's right there division. And then it even gets to a continent. Africa, you're African booty scratcher. You know what I'm saying? Or you're an American. You're a stupid American. You're Canadian. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? All these little things, they play on it to keep you divided. And once people can understand the truth behind all of that, when you can understand it, they are literally just trying to keep us separate from each other in all different ways. Then you can unite, because you can get past it and you can see through the lies.
And the latest thing is it's one of those DEFCON 4s. Sorry, Patrick, just give me last second on the cops. Literally, the last thing that they could do is break down our safety. And now, and people have always, cops are human. They have some issues. I've actually reported cops back, I think 7 years ago, that I thought were too rough with the black dude leaving the club. So there's some shitty cops. I get that, but the percentages are so few and far between on a job that nobody wants. And there's shortages of police in every major dangerous city. So when somebody shows up without help, they're in trouble. So now they've separated us, like you've said, by state, by team. They've done all these psyches. And now it feels like that final moment that they're using us to lose our protections and lose those that are trying to protect us against us. There's one article, and I had to say, my friend Laura and I got into it a little bit today. She sent me something that came out on a news station saying, we found 85,000 cops who've been investigated for misconduct. You can now read their records. I looked at the actual article. 10% of all cops have been investigated. Just that's it. So that means, and she goes, so wild, but there are only a few bad apples. People might not be great at math, because if only 10% have been investigated, that means 90% are clean as the day is long. Out of those 2,500, or out of those, there was 2,500, which is 3.5 to 4% that have had 10 plus investigations against them. that starts to be a problem where you're like, all right, if that's that many times, that's the people you get rid of. So that means 90, based on the math of an article that incited somebody to send it to me and get mad about the fact that people think cops are good, that means 96 to 97% of cops have done a really good job their whole career. So yes, that's 2 or 3 out of 100. That's 3 or 4 out of 100. That's not that bad, but it incites people to think they're so bad. And investigations can happen for anything. So get rid of the 10. Here's the problem. You can't get rid of the 10 when you're no longer allowing good people to be police, because right now, who wants to become a policeman? So now the people that are going to be the rough and tumble ones and the ones that are over the line, they're the ones that are going to actually sign up to do the job. So the exact thing they're fighting against is what they're going to end up getting. And it's because of the image portrayed in the media. And that's why things like you, Cash, things like Patrick, things like what I'm working on and how we're working together, we need to get a message out there. And we need it to not just be people that are in our echo chamber. It needs to be the Denitras. It needs to be the Wendy Scotts. And we need to have that kind of conversation so that they can all of a sudden not agree with us, but go, there might just be a different way of looking at it per se. And that's the only way to actually get the change we're talking about, because we can talk about it education till we're blue in the face.
You know,
I see in the hold on, Cash. I see in the comments a lot of people are asking when I was talking about the media, like how do we fight them? Well, this is exactly how we do it. We talk about it. You talk to your friends about it. Media works on ratings. Stop watching it. Period. Don't tune in. Write letters. Anything that you can do to teach or to help your friends or to help your other people in your circle understand that they are deliberately dividing us. Do it. Absolutely do it. Stop tuning in.
Let me tell you something. You probably see it in my face. I've been studying a lot, bro. I've been looking into everything, and not even just in America, bro. Not even right here in my own community, not even just in my own state, not even in my own country, all around the world, and all the things that go on. And it upsets me because it's media. It's all media and narratives about people and labels and all these things just to divide people or make them angry or make them stressed or make them depressed or make them feel like there is no fucking hope. It bothers me because I walk outside and I walk to the store even when I'm going through some shit and I can see the most beautiful things happening. I see people doing really good things, and the world isn't exactly at all what they portray when you turn on the TV. And it upsets me to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna do something about it. This is just the start of what I'm trying to do about it. And I guarantee you, I promise you, once God starts to work on somebody, he don't stop until it's finished. That's my belief. I don't get into the whole religion aspect of it, but I'm a follower of Christ. That's me. I take Christ's example and I try to emulate that as best as I can. I'm not one to turn the other cheek. You know what I'm saying? But I want what he wanted. People together. He wanted to turn the hearts of man back to the Father. That was his whole thing. That's what I would love to be a part of doing. And it's going to take all of us to do this. So all 800 people that are watching right now, all of you, 800 people, if you affect one person, and you help make their day better and you spread a message, you spread some news, that's good. The good news. That's 1,600 people. You do that one time. You know what I'm saying? And you just keep doing it. That's how we spread. That's how we do it. You see that kid in your neighborhood, you mentor that kid in your neighborhood. You help that kid. It starts with us. You tell him, hey man, I know it's rough out here. And I know you trying. I believe in you. You're going to be something one day. You're not going to be like the rest of them. And you tell that to these kids. And you put them under your wing. Give them hope. Give them love. Give them what you would want.
A lot of golden rule comments on the side.
It's true. It's true.
Don't
It was powerful.
Jeff.
We all heard silence and we all started speaking. That's when you know it's a good conversation.
Go ahead, Pat.
I don't remember what I was thinking now. Now I do. When I was a kid, the one thing I loved hearing more than anything was that somebody was proud of me or that I did a good job. It's insignificant. It's easy to say, but it matters so much when you're trying. you know, and right now all kids need to hear that, and all adults need to hear it too. As human beings, we need to hear it. Like, we have like been incredibly blessed, all three of us, to be a part of this thing and see these things from a different angle than all of you guys that are watching us. And I'm telling you right now, like, mankind is far from what we are perceived to be through the media. You guys are amazing. Like, this it's just crazy. It's unbelievable. This is amazing to be a part of. And anybody that doesn't know that, just go through and read through the comments. You guys are, I mean, yeah, there's some discussion. There's some people that disagree, but there's more love than anything else than I've ever experienced in my entire life. It's incredible.
Yo, I got to touch on this topic real quick.
Yeah, go
real
ahead.
quick. I just seen a comment down there about the music, rap music, right?
I saw the same one.
Yo, hip hop has been hijacked. When hip hop first started out, it was cultural, it was positive, it was motivating, trying to get the hood to be better, trying to educate their learning. It was all, if you listen to old school rap, the intelligence and articulate way that they come off to give the message, oh my God, it just filled you up. It filled you up and made you want to be better. Okay. Nowadays, you turn on the radio and listen, and they're compromised because it's only became about the money. If you can make a song that people want to listen to, then it's going to be about the money. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, right? You make that song that people want to listen to, you have to make it the way that they tell you. The people that put the music out, they tell you that's not what people want to listen to. They want to listen to this. Make a video about somebody ass shaking. Make a video about how many women you can sleep with. Make a video about this bitch, this hoe. Make a video about selling drugs. Make a video about they're brainwashing you. It's the same as media. They brainwash the kids, and then we let our kids listen to it. Like, you can ask my girl. Certain songs come on the radio, I turn that shit off. I literally, we don't play that. I'm not with it. My kids are not gonna be none of what they hear on the radio. You know what I listen to? 99.5. Because I told you guys I'm mixed. My mom's from West Virginia. I grew up on country music. I listen to a lot of country music. I love classic rock, and I love old school rap. Tupac. I love Tupac. You know what I'm saying? And don't let your kids be brainwashed by this bullshit that they put out here. If it's on the radio, then it's trash most of the time when it comes to rap. Most of the time. I don't care how well they put it together. You got some real good lyricists, right? Nas should have been one of the best rappers ever because the dude spits facts. He spits facts, man, and he spits something that it intrigues your brain to want to learn. He makes you want to read a damn book so you can sound like him. Nas is amazing. You know what I'm saying? And he got underplayed because his message was positive. Anytime you put out something conscious or something positive, they will downplay it. You will not get radio play if you put anything positive out there. You won't. You just won't. You have to put out some pollution type shit that's going to make a mind think that you got to be the biggest hoe, you know, as a woman, or you got to say, you know, they teach women to be raunchy is the word that I'll use, and to only care about the money. They put out these women that only care about the money. You know what I'm saying? And they talk about men, like the feminist stuff and all of that. Then when they put out the dudes to talk about how much drugs they could sell, how many women they slept with, what kind of rims they got in their car, about how many niggas they shot. I'm telling you, if you just pay attention, just open your mind a little bit, and then listen. Right now, what I want you to, when you listen to the music from now on, I want you to listen to it and be like, why would they let this come out? Think about it. You're going to hear the lyrics completely different once you start listening to it. You go, why? Why am I listening to this right now? Why did they purposefully play this song 50 times in the last 3 hours? Conditioning.
Programming.
TV is called programming, right? It's a program.
Right.
They're programming your mind. They're programming your mind.
Think.
Yeah.
It's not to think.
Yeah. It's so here's the thing. One thing you got to remember about America is we have freedom of speech. So we're not going to be able to change the video games. We're not going to be able that's not going to change until the buyer changes. So
exactly.
Saying that we need to get rid of video games, we need to get rid of gangster rap and all that stuff it's that literally takes away everything that we're about in America. So
freedom of speech.
You have to take away the buyer. If people are going to sell drugs, as long as there's a buyer. So we have to change mindsets in a different way. And honestly, I know there's a lot of comments about Sean King and Patrick. I'm personally not a fan of Sean King. However, once in a while he gets some nuggets. And what Sean King does a great job with is history. So that's one thing. Like when people blast out a lot of the BLM stuff, the one positive takeaway is history. There is a lot of black people too that just learned what Juneteenth was.
I don't know what Juneteenth is. I don't know who Sean King is. I don't know about none of what you just said.
Sean King is one of the originators of the Black Lives Matter movement, and he's well followed. And he's the one that had the whole comment about. He's the one that said maybe not vote Democrat. He also is the one that said we should tear down everything about Jesus. So he goes in a bunch of different ways, but he does post a lot of history. So you've got the Tulsa massacre that a lot of people are just learning about because Trump decided to have his event on that day. So people start learning about
Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Black Wall Street, yeah. So
I know all about Black history. I could tell you about history all day long.
Right.
I don't know who these people are.
But that's important because it's not just important to the Black community to learn about what was taken from them and say we have the potential. It's important for white people to at least go, okay, so there was some real. It wasn't just riots in the 60s and it wasn't just slavery. There was some real shit that along the way went wrong for Black people. So let's try to find a way to make sure it doesn't happen again. And here's what's going to happen. We're going to look at history books for this year. And people aren't thinking about the ramifications of COVID on the underprivileged community, whether it's poor white people or poor Black people. So COVID kept people at home. And as we're talking about the importance of education, and you can look at the importance of the danger of COVID, but think about who ended up not getting taught a whole half of a school year. It wasn't the rich kids, and it wasn't most of the privileged kids because they usually had a parent or somebody that was educated enough, even if it had to be late at night after they got work, to teach them what they missed. Whereas on the other side, you've got the underprivileged kids that just like, cool, I got school off for 4 months, and they're now 4 months behind. So 20, 30 years from now, the history books are going to show the same thing. We can't forget this. That,
by the way, they did that in slave times. I'm trying to tell this people don't understand. I'm trying to tell you, that's what they're trying to do. It's all the lower community that had their kids taken out of school. And how many people sat and made sure the kids got their e-learning done? I ain't gonna lie, I didn't have that many tablets. I have a lot of kids. Right. They weren't provided. So I sat with my kids and did the best that I could. But
so all these marching liberal horde that says, oh my God, we got to protect ourselves, and then Black Lives Matter on their next tag doesn't realize, okay, if it matters that much, you need to help what just happened the last 4 or 5 months. So just like learning history, we can't let it repeat itself, and learning about Juneteenth and Tulsa riot and the Black Wall Street and what happened in Central Park, it's an important thing to learn. And Sean King does show a lot of history, and learning about history, 13th Amendment, all these different things are things we should be learning. And that's another way to educate kids. And that's another way to eventually get rid of gangster rap. I mean, it's a whole process. It's a 20-year thing, but it has to all happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, so I'm a big fan of history like Cash. Like we stay up late talking about Egypt and South America and all sorts of crazy stuff all the time. And it's something I really love. And I am really adamantly against the removal of statues and monuments and things like that, because I honestly believe that those things are there for us to learn from. And if those who don't learn from history are forced to repeat it. That being said, I don't care if Sean King gets a nugget every now and then or not. When you're talking about going after monuments of Jesus, I mean, this is the teachings of a man that has like changed the most influential human being that ever lived on the face of the earth, right? Like, and now we're supposed to go and break everything that makes him look like whether he's white. I mean, he wasn't white, he wasn't black, he was Middle Eastern anyways. So like, what's he trying to say? Like, so yeah, Sean King, I
really don't like him.
That's just too far. You've gone too far. You want to make comments, you want to have a discussion, great, but now because here's what's going to happen next. Now they're going to be throwing rocks through stained glass windows in churches.
No, No, I disagree, respectfully. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because depending on how religious you are, okay, because you have different sects of religion. I study religion. I've studied Islam. I've studied Christianity, a lot of different Christianities. I've studied Satanism. I've looked into Satanism. I've looked into Buddhism, Hinduism. I have a lot of holy books that I read. Okay, just because I like knowledge, not because I follow any of them. I just like to know what I'm talking about, right? So if you get a real religious person, okay, who is into religion, did you know that some religious sects will tell you that it is not okay to have a statue of Jesus or a picture of Jesus? Because in the 10 Commandments, it says, thou shalt not have any graven images. So right there is an argument, and that's religion.
Or false idols.
See, that's the religion. See, that's religion. If people don't like statues or do like statues, I don't care. Don't kill each other over it. I don't care. That's political stuff. That's religious stuff. I want people to come together. I want people to come together. They want to take the statue down, go about the proper way to do that. Submit a petition, whatever. You don't just tear things down. There is a way to do things in this country. And once people can get back to that, you have to have rules. There has to be laws. There has to be order. If not, we have anarchy and chaos. So you have to go through the proper way to do things. There's a way to do things. Well, I'm gonna quote a verse. It says, there is a way to seem right unto man, but in the end leads to his destruction. And if we keep on doing things the way that we're doing things, then we are leading ourselves to our destruction. Okay? So do things the right way. That's all I'm saying. Whatever you believe is what you believe. Me personally, I could care less if a statue comes up or goes down when it comes to religion, because like I tell you, I'm a follower of Christ. And if you read his message, he will tell you, you know what I'm saying? Just to love God. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, and love God. Follow the laws of the land. He says that. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Follow the laws of the land, unless they go against God. And you know when it goes against God, because it requires you probably to kill somebody or something like that. Unless God told you to do it, don't do it. I don't think God's telling people to kill nobody. I'm just saying. But this is not the Old Testament. That's my opinion. That's all I'm saying. So, with that being said, let's just unite people. Let's not bring the things about division with religion and the politics and all. Forget all of it. It's garbage. If it's dividing us, it's garbage. We got to bring people together.
So did I make it sound like I liked Sean King? I'm looking at the comments. Like, I think it's interesting. So here's the deal. History, find other history. I do not like the fact that that's even coming. I'm not a fan of Sean King because he is so divisive. So you can find history elsewhere. I was saying a couple comments he said, right? I think it's interesting that it's just people can hear different things out of voices. So I'm going to apologize for that. I really do not like Sean King's message because it is divisive. It is anti-unity. So I want to make that super clear. In terms of, hold on, Patrick. In terms of the statues, I had a discussion about this today. I'm getting way too many of these discussions. I blame Cash. So here's my thing with statues. There's certain statues that I understand why they could be brought down. And I understand why it could offend people. And honestly, I don't care. Like, if it's that big of a deal, take it down. It's not changing any. If it helps with unity, take it down. The problem is it doesn't help with unity.
Or build a black Jesus. Just put a black Jesus statue up. If it's that offensive, I don't care about what color he is. His message is dope. Forget what he looks like. Listen to his message.
Right. Well,
who cares what he looks like? You can make him a dreadhead Jesus. That's fine with me. Yeah. You can make him a Korean Jesus. I got a Korean Jesus. I got a little Korean Jesus. I like my Korean Jesus. But I know that that's not the man that I'm talking about. I know that thing is not what you know what I'm saying? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you know you're good? The Jesus thing was just because Sean King, I think, goes way too damn far. I'm talking about some of the Confederate stuff and some of the people that were like, there's a Roosevelt statue being taken down because of the way that it's standing and makes it look like it's more important than the Native American. It's ridiculous to a point for me. But here's the thing. Tearing that down, because I don't care about idols and I don't care about statues. I care more about people coming together. That's me. I've become incredibly patient, and it's taken a long time for me to just go, that's not important to me. But when it's important to a lot of people, tearing them down doesn't tear down barriers. It builds them. It makes it worse. So
You're right.
if the people that should be the one to take the statues down are the ones that right now are fighting against taking them down. They need to eventually learn and see it's not who can. That is not going to be the first step. That there's not going to be a young black man that's growing up going, now that statue's gone, I can be the full human that I deserve to be. It's not going to do anything at that point. Now, if somebody that is more on the right-wing side eventually sees the issues and it spreads and 20 years, 15 years goes by and go, I don't think we need those statues anymore, and they make that decision, that's huge. But right now, all it's doing is breaking the.
Can I just tell you guys something real quick? Now, everybody, I need you to listen to what I'm about to say. You do understand that the reason why it says in the holy books to not have a graven image or a statue is because of times like this?
It's interesting. I think we're seeing
literally, that's why. Because no man has seen God except for the Son. And everybody that's seen the Son, they aren't here right now. They didn't draw any pictures because at that time you couldn't draw a picture of someone. You could not make a graven image of them. Food for thought.
All right, I gotta say something. So as far as tearing down the statues, like you were talking about, Anthony, I'll answer that first. Rather than allow people with a mob mentality to get what they want, why not do a better job teaching people why those statues were erected in the first place? You know, like a whole lot of Robert E. Lee statues have been defaced or pulled down and stuff like that. And you know, I remember Cash and I having that conversation privately about what he was like, you know, like the things that he said, you know, what he represented. And it's not what most people think because they don't have the understanding of why that statue was erected. And I think that goes, you know, that's more important. You know, there was talk on one article that, you know, people that were trying to deface the tomb of the unknown soldier. Like, that's not a religious statue. That's a pretty, you know, pretty important monument for the United States. But besides that, like what you were saying, Cash, I want unity more than anybody, right? Like that is the core of what we're doing here. 100% want to bring people together, but I'm also a realist, and I understand that there are actually people that do not want that. We're not going to get to them. They're not going to understand our message, and I'm not going to pander to them in any way, shape, or form with their demands that they think that they want. I personally, if they want to sit down and have a conversation, absolutely. But when we have people that like to put masks on and and hide behind peaceful protesters in order to create violence and shoot guns into crowds, those aren't the kind of people that are going to come together. Those are the kind of people that want the chaos that they're seeing.
Yeah, let me just say something real quick, okay? First off, Karen, no one is worshiping statues, Cash. I'm not saying that anybody's worshiping statues. I'm just telling you what the holy books say. And I'll use the two main holy books that people use, the Quran and the Holy Bible. Both of them say thou shalt not have any graven images or statues. That's all. It didn't say anything about worshiping. He said, thou shalt not have any of the gods before me, for I'm a jealous God. Yes. But he didn't say anything about it being worship. He said, just don't have them. Because when you have them, you can create an argument because your red might not be my red. Your Jesus might not be my Jesus. You get it? That's why he said that. Also, I just wanted to point out, this is all foretold in the holy books. And both of them, I'll use them main two because them are the main two. Everything that's happening today is talked about in them holy books, where it says that one day they're going to try to tear down the temples. They're going to try to tear down the church. They're going to try to do everything and slander you because you're a follower of Christ or because you're a believer in God. And they're going to come and they're going to say all these things and they're going to come scoffing and all these. Okay. It says all of these things. Now, if it's happening and they told you that it was going to happen, then maybe this is just part of the plan and we can speculate about it all we like. But one thing that it is very, very, very emphasized in there is the coming together of the people, which is why I'm focusing on the unity. We are not going to be able to stop anything that is supposed to come. What we can do is get all the true believers of good. And when I say good, I mean God, because God is good. Okay. Now, I don't care what your religion is. If you're a good person, that's between you and God, what you believe, but your heart will show that. I believe that God looks at people's hearts. Okay. We can't stop any of those things. If they're going to tear down statues, they're going to tear them down. Is it unfortunate? Maybe. It depends on how you believe. If you're okay with statues, then hey. If you're not okay with statues, then hey. But it shouldn't divide us. We should stand together. The good people shouldn't even be a part of that. Like, they want to tear stuff down, fine, you tear it down. But we need to come together and say, look, I love you, you love me. Let's take care of each other. Let's make sure that we're okay. Let's make sure that nobody's hungry. Let's make sure that everybody got food. And let's just survive together until this whole thing is sorted out. And as long as nobody's coming for our life, then we're good. That's my stand on it.
I agree with that.
Truth.
I think at the end of the day, the most important thing, Republican, Democrat, whatever side of whatever line you want to put yourself on, if you're a good person and you want what's best for all of us, this is one of the core points of Cash and I's relationship is if we do not come together now, what chance do we got? Together we have a chance. It doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter what color your skin is. None of that matters anymore. Like, we have to unite together as one people and stand against the things that are evil.
There's a story. I always quote the Bible because that's, I'll leave it out. I'm not going to get into the religious part of it. But in the Quran, all right, in the Hadith, there's a story. And it talks about Iblis, Satan. He goes to the city. Now, there's two lines. You had Cain's line and you had Seth's line, right? And Seth's line was not to mix with Cain's line. Well, the devil goes down there in the Cain's line and he sits there with them. And he's different than them. He's like showing out a little bit. And the first thing that he does is he makes an instrument. And when he makes the instrument, it's a flute. So he starts playing the flute, and these people never heard this sound before. And they love the sound of it, and it's amazing to them, right? And he captivates them with it. So he makes more instruments, and he starts playing all these different sounds, and people are interested, and they're intrigued by it, right? And then he misled them with the music. And then the people that weren't supposed to come down because they're like, look it over there. They're ahead of us because they got this sound and they got this stuff over here that we don't have. So let's go down. They're like, man, we ain't supposed to go down there, but they go down anyway because, they breaking the rules. Whatever. It sounds cool. It looks like a party. We're going. So they go. And when they get down there, they start partying with these people and mixing. They start sleeping together. And it's like the first party. And they would only do this. Get this. They would only do it on Friday night. Friday night was their party night, right? So they go back and they're like, yo, man, where was y'all at? Oh, we went down there and we was chilling with so-and-so. They are kin anyway. They are cousins. So we're supposed to be able to go and hang with them. Next generation comes. He lured them away with music. That's the first tool that he used. He lured them away with music and got them to just get together and mingle and mix. Well, then a person that was great to them in their society, an elder, passed away. Everyone's sad and crying over this elder that died, right? So Satan, he goes, look, you know what we should do? And he's not Satan to them. To them, he just looks like a regular person. He's like, you know what we should do? We should make a stone with his name on it, just to remember him by. And we can come by here and just pay respects to him every year. So they do it. And the people come pay the respects. Then that generation dies and he's still there. And then the next generation, you know what? This dude was so influential. Why don't we build a statue for him? Let's build a statue for him in memorial of him, a monument. So they build it. And then he gets the people to come to the statue. He says, I think that we should have a moment of silence. Let's get on our knees. Let's get on our knees in a moment of silence for him. So then they do it. And then them kids are seeing it. That generation dies and them kids see it. So them kids come to the statue. And they kneel before the statue. And then he tells them, this man, because there's been so many generations, this man right here was amazing. We have to pray to him. If you pray to him, He will bless you. He looked out for this land. He looked out for these people, and he got them to kneel, and he got them to pray to the statue. That's a story. Don't know how true it is, but it just goes to show how Satan works. You know what I'm saying? Or what you call Satan, the evil in the world. It starts off subtle. It starts off subtle. So you think that you go and you protest at a statue, and then you get angry, and then you deface the statue, and then you're tearing the statue down. The point of this story is it starts with something so subtle, a disagreement that can lead into something so big that it becomes so evil that I feel like the good people or God in the world will just look at it in disgust. Like, what's wrong with you? You knew better than this. You knew better than to do all of why are you guys are brothers, you guys are kin. Why are you know what I'm saying? Why are you listening to this music? Why are you looking at your brother with malice? Why are you bowing before a statue? Why are you tearing this statue down? Why are you hurting people? Little subtle things. That's how the devil works in my mind. I don't know for sure. It's just a gut feeling to me. I can't tell you if the devil's even real. I believe in the devil because I see him in people. I've seen him in myself at one time. So put the differences aside, man. Don't listen to the flute. You know what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying. Don't end up going down somewhere where you ain't supposed to be and partaking in things that you would normally partake in just because you see a crowd of people doing it and it looks right and it looks fun. Go with your heart and make sure that your heart is aligned before you do it with whatever your higher being is. Because if you follow a higher being, then it must be good. So if you can't know what's good and what's wrong within yourself, then you need to check yourself morally. And that's all I got on it.
So I want to say one other thing as I'm looking through and the importance of what we do. And I watch entirely too much on the internet and people having discussions like this, and some of them conservative and some of them liberal, and some of them do it for comedy, some of them do it for show, and some of them are entertaining. And you've got on the right side, you of course have the Hodge twins, which are funny. They're really funny guys, but they're not going to, all they're going to do is when people that disagree with them see their stuff, they're going to fight against it. There's no middle ground on theirs. It sells, it's funny, but it's an echo chamber again, or people getting upset about it. So, and I'm talking about everybody, even including Candace Owens. Candace Owens doesn't quite have the ability to bring people in where there is this safe space. So one thing I want to encourage people, and no more than any of the times I've been on here as this is growing, is to share this page. Share it to people you think will hate this message because they have to listen. And when they actually hear us a little bit, it's going to be hard to hate it. With that said, I'm looking at Brenda Love's comments, and I know that a lot of people are on the side commenting like, I can't even focus anymore because they're arguing with Brenda. Brenda put a comment, said, the fact that none of you will never be opposed speaks so loud. You can't understand why people are fighting back now. Makes all of you a part of the problem. There's no justice. There's no peace. I'm glad some of you aren't like that, but most of you hold so much hate in your heart, and hating people of color is an actual thing. People wake up. Brenda, I don't think the people in this group are thinking that. They're really not. And Brenda, I encourage your passion to continue, but think of it from a different scope. Think of it, actually listen to what Cash was just talking about. It's literally it's not about having the same concepts. It's having differences in opinion. Cash has been through a lot. By looking at me, you wouldn't know my background, but it wasn't good. There was a lot of bad things. There was poverty. There was a handicapped father or disabled father. There's a lot, and you don't know other people's story. You don't know Patrick's story. And everybody that's chewing out Brenda right now, stop it.
Unite, don't fight, you guys.
That's not the point. Brenda is the person we are trying to speak to. All of you guys that agree with us, I love it, and I thank you guys for supporting everything that we're doing. Brenda is who we're talking to and trying to teach you guys how to talk to Brenda. We're not going to always agree on things fully, but we can agree at the end of the day that we probably shouldn't be hurting each other. So that's all I want to say. And I don't know if we're going anymore, but that's my last comment, is share the living crap out of this page. We've broken the tip jar rule a bunch today.
Yeah.
The swear jar,
Yeah.
but honestly, just share this. Share, not because we want a bigger following, because I think our message is different. I think our message is disarming. I think our message is more uniting than anything I've seen out there. And I'm speaking highly of Cash and our message together with Patrick, with me, and with the people we bring on this open chamber. Just share it. It's not just to help us. It's really not help. It's to help everything that we're working for. That's all.
Hey, I got to touch on a comment I just saw fly by. Diana, no, it's not okay to judge you because you're white. It's not okay to judge anybody for the color of their skin. Come on. Like, this is absolutely not. Like, and Brenda, I did not see your comment. Nice job, Anthony, catching that. For those of you guys that don't know, comments fly by for us really fast. But Brenda, I would love to have more conversations with you. I would love to learn stuff from you, and if you could teach me stuff, that would be great. Maybe I could teach you something too. The whole purpose of this is all three of us, me and Cash are brothers. We love the shit out of each other, but we do not agree on everything. Like, no. And I know when we first came on here, that's kind of what it looked like. And we would laugh in the background. I was like, man, I wonder what everybody's going to do when we start disagreeing, because we've already had a lot of these conversations and we know we don't agree with each other. But that's not the point. The point is we stand united together, regardless of our differences. That's why we're here, because it's not about right or left or any of the lines we define ourselves by. That's what this is about. So we need the Brendas to share this with your friends and to come on and let's have these discussions. Let's break down these barriers. That is why we're here. And anybody in the comments that's making it about that for whatever reason Diana wrote that message. No, it is not okay to judge anyone for the color of their skin. That is wrong.
Let me tell you something, man. Listen to me, everybody, right now, please. Don't type right now. Just take a moment and listen real quick. No comments. Just listen to what I'm about to say. All right. We are here to unite. To come together. You got a difference of opinion, that's fine. That's okay. You got a difference of opinion. You might not agree with perspective. Perspective is just that. It's somebody's perspective. It's what they see. And that's fine. Forget what you see. Take your eyes out of the equation and go with what you feel. When you hear us talk, go with what you feel. If you could feel the love, then this is where you need to be. But if you're only here to try to argue or get in the comment section and belittle each other, then you're missing the whole point of it all. Okay? We're not here to shoot each other down. That's not why we're here. We're here to come together, find common ground, unity, love each other. Okay? So please, when you see somebody getting nasty in the comments, I don't care if they call you every name in the book, then you meet them with love. You know, when you bless somebody after they curse you, it's like putting hot coals on their forehead. That's in the Bible. Bless the people. Don't give them a reason to look at you and say, you ain't no better than me. We ain't no better than nobody else, but we're not as bad. That's the whole key. Don't be as bad. You can't be better than anybody. We're all the same when you get to the root of it all. We're all the same, but you can lower yourself. Don't lower yourself. Let's stay equal. I love y'all. And I really hope you have a good night. I was really going to touch on some other stuff like with chopping out, but I don't think we need to. I think that tonight's discussion went just the way it was supposed to go. And I feel like we covered some things that would hopefully open up your heart a little bit and maybe your mind. I love you guys, and I really appreciate you for tuning in. And I'm excited to do this again. And yo, don't follow me. Don't follow me, because I'm just trying to make it like y'all. Follow what I'm trying to follow, the example of Christ. Simple as that. Just try to be a better person. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. You do those two things and you've completed the whole law. and you've done what you needed to do. You've become a better person. We ain't gonna change overnight. You're not gonna be perfect. I'm far from perfect. I'm far from better than and than anyone. Most of you people on here are better than me. I'm probably one of the lowest of the low. All right. Be good. That's all I could say. Just be good. All right. Yo, I appreciate you guys for being on. We ain't gonna do what I said, Patrick, with the whole all of that. Let's just end this on a good note, man. Yo, we all love you guys. Y'all love them.
Absolutely. I want to take a second and just tell all of you guys, I love you all. Like, I really do. You guys are amazing, and you inspire me to learn more and to keep doing more every single day. And being a part of this has changed my life. And for those of you that saw a video that I put up the other day, I'm going to remind you guys again of the same thing I reminded you then. Be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. That's it. It's all I can ask of any one of you. It's all I ask of myself. So just keep striving to be a little bit better every day. And I love you.
I'll say the same thing. I'm watching what's going on in the side, and there's more impact in what I've seen than any words that can come out of any of our mouths. If you look, and I know that her first comment, which I didn't get to see, was something that I know was graphic to some people, and they didn't like it and they thought it was racist. And watching what's happening in the side right now is exactly what our point is. And seeing all these people that were literally chopping her down, saying, and she just said, my inbox is open, and people saying that I'm going to message you and I'm going to actually communicate with you. It's amazing. And
send me a message. I want to talk with you too.
Brenda, I'd love to have you on the next show. I want to talk with you as well. I'm going to try to find you and shoot you a message.
And I haven't had a lot of sleep, so I think that's why I'm getting emotional. But that's
hey, I feel you. This is great. This is what it's supposed to be, you guys.
That's success.
We can make this infectious. Love is infectious, man. Straight up. We just got to keep going. We can't stop. You have to keep going. We got to keep doing this. If you are for real and you want unity and you love good or you love God, then we got to keep doing this. All right? Because we're all human. I'm not no religious person. I'm not a saint. I'm no Jesus. I'm not worthy to touch the man's shoes. But I respect his message. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we got to do. Respect the message. Forget what he looks like. Does that really matter? Or does the message matter? That's all I'm saying. But yeah, we're going to end this out, you guys. I hope everybody has a good night. Unite, don't fight. We got this, okay? We're going to get it done.
We love you. We love you.
Have a good night.
Night, y'all.